Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by lynda.com.
Today on Variant, it's villain against villain with Darkseid VS Thanos. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I pray they don't mess up the Flash on this season of Arrow. I'm your host, Arris. Now, longtime watchers of the show know about every month or so I do a versus episode putting two heroes up against each other, but I have yet to put two supervillains up against each other. So since I haven't done that yet and you guys have been asking for a villains versus episode, that's exactly what I'm doing today with one of the most popular requests, Darkseid vs. Thanos. So let the battle begin. Let's kick this battle off with talking a little bit about where these villains came from, starting with Darkseid, which, by the way, I've noticed over the years people always argue on the pronunciation of Darkseid's name. Some people say Darkseid, others say Darkseid, which is what I say, and it's the correct pronunciation of his name. You may be asking, how do I know this? Well, in the entire DC animated universe, like Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, and even DC straight-to-home animated movies, they always pronounce it Darkseid, not Seed. But to prove my point even more, comic book legend Jack Kirby and creator of Darkseid pronounced it Darkseid, not Darkseid. So I would say that brings this debate to an end. But as I said before, let's get into Darkseid's backstory. He first appeared as a cameo in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen issue 134 in 1970 and made his first full appearance in Forever People issue 1 in 1971. In Forever People issue 1, Darkseid was revealed to Superman as being the most powerful villain to threaten the universe. He's the ruthless leader of the planet Apokolips, whose only interest is ending any and all life in the universe. Darkseid's original origin was later elaborated to us in New Gods issue 1, but his origin has since changed when DC rebooted their universe 2 years ago with their New 52 revamp. And since the New 52 is what's now in continuity and current, that's the origin I will be telling you guys. His new origin is given to us in Justice League 23.1 Darkseid. As a mud grubber on his homeworld, Euxis, at least I think that's how you say his name, I'm not too sure, but that's how I'm gonna say it, despised the old gods, feeling they cared little about him and his people. Enraged by another old god rampaging through his village, Euxis traveled up the sacred mountain to where all the old gods slept. As they slept, Euxis whispered into the ears of all the old gods, causing them to turn on one another. The old gods fought each other and as a result were weakened by battle. Euxis then killed them all one by one, absorbing their great power. And then bam, just like that, Euxis was transformed into the tyrant god Darkseid. Meanwhile, Darkseid's brother begged the Sky Father to return his now dead wife to him. Instead, the god granted him his power. The brothers then competed in a battle that would design the fate of their world. When Darkseid defeated his brother, he controlled Apokolips, a hellish world where Darkseid is king. As for Thanos, he was created by Jim Starlin in February of 1973 and first appeared in Iron Man issue 55. Thanos is part of the Eternal race known as the Deviants. The Deviants are an offshoot of the Eternals, who are a race of perfect godlike beings that were created by like 2,000-foot armored space gods known as the Celestials. Thanos inherited the deviant gene at birth. As a result, Thanos became like that of a mutant on his home planet Titan, where he developed a purple hide-like skin along with other strength and physical abilities far surpassing that of other Titans. The mutation also augmented the powers he inherently possessed as a descendant of the Eternals, growing to become the most powerful Titan. Though never shunned by his family as a youth, Thanos was feared and shunned by his fellow Titans as a result of his unique qualities. His brother Arris was groomed from their childhood to eventually replace their father in the role of what constituted as leading among their people. Arris would throughout their youth be surrounded by loving friends and family who favored him over Thanos. Feeling the sting of such ostracism, Thanos would find comfort and purpose in other venues, though one day in a subterranean temple, a young Thanos would find companionship in the form of Mistress Death. Decades would pass and their relationship grew and eventually blossomed into a dark and forbidden romance, which also sounds like a Lady Gaga song. Under Death's tutelage, he grew even stronger and more powerful, well-versed in the black arts which had long been forbidden on Titan. She taught him that knowledge is power and that power is everything. Thanos was soon after exiled by his father from Titan. Striving to prove his devotion to Death, Thanos shows his truest form of love for Death by the annihilation of everything. Now, with those brief backstories for each character out of the way, let's talk about their powers and abilities to see what they would do to beat the crap out of each other, starting with Darkseid. First and foremost, he's a god, a new god to be exact, and as a new god, Darkseid has an extended lifespan which allows him to exist indefinitely. He doesn't age or wither. He's even been reduced to nothing before by the Spectre, but he reformed his body shortly thereafter. He has superhuman strength and is known as one of the strongest characters in the entire DC universe. His strength is so great that he can even overpower heavyweights such as Superman and Wonder Woman in hand-to-hand combat. He has also been shown destroying a Green Lantern ring with his bare hands. Darkseid has superhuman speed, stamina, stamina and invulnerability. One of Darkseid's most notable powers are his Omega beams. They shoot from his eyes. He has complete control over them, and he can change their path at will. He can make them travel in a straight line, curve, bend, or even twist around corners. When it hits a target, it quickly reduces the target to nothing. He even has the ability to manipulate matter. He can dissipate and disperse molecules from an object or organism. He can create life or erase them out of existence. Darkseid also can do something dubbed the Omega Sanction. It can be described as a living hell, as it can trap a being in a series of alternate realities, each worse than the previous. He also has telepathy, mind control, telekinesis, and can teleport, and can manipulate his size, density, and mass. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. That's a crap ton of powers, and you're right, but at the same time, Thanos has a crap ton too. He has superhuman strength, endurance, reflexes, and agility. He is nearly invulnerable and able to endure extreme heat, cold energies, radiation, and poisons. Due to his genetic heritage, Thanos is immune to aging and disease. And he is even immortal after being cursed by death. His mind is invulnerable to most forms of psychic attacks, and he is so powerful he was able to enter the mind of the Conqueror of Worlds, Galactus. Thanos also can read minds and has telepathy. He's even shown the ability to control minds, the Hulk's mind being one of them, which is extremely impressive due to the fact that the Hulk has a high resistance to telepathic attacks because of his anger. Through meditation and certain mystical techniques, Thanos augmented his powers in other ways, making him able to tap, transform, and direct vast quantities of cosmic energy for a destructive force. He can emit blasts of plasma and cosmic energy of devastating power from his eyes and hands. Thanos also was born with a superhuman intelligence and has spent much of his life acquiring knowledge. One of the coolest powers is that his skin developed in a fashion which allowed the Mad Titan to not only absorb cosmic energy at an atomic level, but then to manipulate the kinetic force by conscious choice. So he can pretty much do whatever he wants with the energy at that point. And just like Darkseid being one of the strongest beings in the DC universe, Thanos is one of the strongest beings in the Marvel universe. Thanos was also the first wielder of the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet is a cosmic artifact that grants the wearers complete mastery over the 6 Infinity Gems in it: time, space, power, soul, mind, and reality, granting omnipotence and omniscience to the bearer. But at the same time, Darkseid has also wielded the Infinity Gauntlet in the DC Marvel crossover. Even though the gems didn't work on Apocalypse, DC's reality, he was still one of the few able to obtain the gauntlet. As for weaknesses for both of them, some would say that Darkseid is weak to the substance known as Radiant, as it's known to weaken all new gods. But since Darkseid is more advanced than the average new god, it doesn't have that much of an effect on him, but it could be assumed that high amounts would. Thanos doesn't have any major weaknesses, but him and Darkseid do share what some would say is a weakness: their obsessive nature with death and destruction. An obsessive nature with anything is a weakness due to the fact that you could be blinded by your obsession, which could make you vulnerable to other things. Now, I'm sure there's some things I left out for each villain, but everything I mentioned is the core and overall gist of each character. So with that knowledge in your head, it's time for you guys to decide who the winner is. Head over to our Variant Facebook page to cast your vote on a poll we posted there on who would win in a fight, Darkseid or Thanos, and I'll announce who you guys decided the winner would be on next week's episode. Lynda.com is an online learning company with more than 77,000 video tutorials that teach software, creative, and business skills. Memberships start at $25 per month and provides an unlimited 24/7 access to top quality video courses taught by expert instructors with real-world experience. Learn anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace, from bite-sized tutorials to comprehensive courses in web design, programming design, photography, business, audio and video, 3D, and animation. And you can learn on the go with their optimized mobile site or free iPhone and iPad app for members. Try lynda.com for free for 7 days by visiting lynda.com/variants and get your learn on. First up for Wednesday, October 23rd is Judge Dredd issue 12. I've said it before, if you're a fan of the recent Dredd movie, this comic is a comic you need to be reading. Next, we have Pretty Deadly issue 1. This is an all-new ongoing series that marries the magical realism of Sandman with the western brutality of Preacher. If you're a fan of either one of those titles, this is a must. Here we have Talon issue 12. Lives hang in the balance as Talon rushes back to Gotham City to stop the Court of Owls from taking apart his life once and for all. But will Batman stand as an ally or stand in his way? And finally, we have Justice League issue 24, a forever evil tie-in. The Justice League is dead, but who's at the top of the food chain now? And what does Black Adam have to say about it? Well, that brings another episode of Variant to a close, but remember to head over to our Variant Facebook page to cast your vote on who you think would win in a fight, Darkseid or Thanos, and I'll be announcing who you guys chose the winner to be at the end of next week's episode. But until then, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Arris_Quinones, and I'll see you guys next week when I talk about all things comics. Look at this. I gotta be the best. I gotta be better. I gotta be faster.
What does the fox say?
Yak-ka-ka-ka-ka-cow.